Nissan set new records for global sales and production.
In 2017, Nissan sold nearly 5.8 million cars globally, the best year in its history.
Their full-year profit forecast by about 15-16%.
By late 2024, people inside the industry were quietly saying it was 12 to 14 months from going out of the business.
Based on speculation and not on any announcement by the company.
Not slowing down, not struggling, gone.
The Japanese automaker now expects an annual net loss of nearly 10 times its previous forecast.
In the 2 fiscal years that followed, Nissan lost more than $7 billion.
Reporting a second straight year of heavy net losses, including factory reductions and employee-related expenses.
This was not long ago one of the most profitable car makers on the planet. The company behind the GTR, the 240Z, the Z.
The company experienced a phase of phenomenal expansion.
Today, it's losing billions and closing the factories.
9,000 workers cut, factories shutting down, a stock price slashed in half. The press is calling it a crisis.
But now Nissan is on life support. The company may not survive beyond 2025.
Nissan didn't fall because of one big mistake. It fell because of a whole stack of them, and the reasons did the most damage aren't the ones you've heard about. The first reason is Renault and its alliance with Nissan.
Just 1 + 1, it's now equal to 3.
Renault and Nissan have announced a long-planned overhaul of their more than 20-year-old alliance.
We are now ready to move our partnership, obviously, to a new era.
Let's journey back because it's very important. It starts with a rescue that came with strings. In 1999, Nissan was about $20 billion in debt and months from collapse.
3 straight years of losses, factories running half empty, and debt so deep that bankruptcy felt like a matter of months.
Renault took a 36.8% stake and sent one man to run the turnaround, Carlos Ghosn. Under the alliance, Nissan forced to overhaul its traditional Japanese business, eventually sharing platforms,
deeper localization,
purchasing,
co-development of new technologies,
even management teams with Renault,
and enhanced joint plant optimization.
We look at how this Japanese car giant was forced to look further afield for its savior.
I'm here to communicate to you the Nissan Revival Plan.
Ghosn's Nissan Revival Plan was ruthless. 5 factories closed, 21,000 jobs cut, the Keiretsu supplier web broken, seniority promotions scrapped.
True to his management principles at Renault and his nickname Le Cost Killer, Ghosn closed 5 factories and cut over 20,000 jobs.
With this investment, Nissan is sending a clear message. We believe in the future and the value of Japanese car making.
It worked, and it quickly worked. Net automotive debt fell from 1.4 trillion yen to under 700 billion yen. And by 2001, Nissan hit a record 7.9% operating margin.
Company losing market share. As long as we are focusing on the revival of our company, people will accept why we are doing this.
Ghosn was a hero. But the same rescue handed Ghosn near total control.
That had enormous symbolic significance in Japan. There is very much this celebration in Japan, particularly in the car industry, of Gemba, the place, where things actually happen. You go to the Gemba, so you go to the factory floor, you go to the sales floor.
And in 2011, he set the trap. Power 88. 8% of the global market and 8% margin by 2017. A volume at all costs obsession that put the numbers first and the brand and its validity maybe later. And under that same alliance leadership, Nissan made 2 bets that would cost it the fortune. First, it went all in on electric cars. Nissan was a genuine pioneer. The Leaf, launched in 2010, was the world's best-selling EV for years.
The Leaf is totally neutral to the environment.
And the alliance poured billions more into that technology.
For the first time in our industry history, a car manufacturer will mass market a zero-emission car, the ultimate solution for sustainable mobility.
And then it simply stopped, rested on that early lead, and let Tesla and the Chinese run away with the market it helped create.
Elon Musk's biggest gamble yet. There's nothing on the dash, it's all controlled by this tablet.
Second, and worse, while it chased EV, it ignored what buyers actually wanted: hybrids. For more than a decade, Nissan had no hybrid in the US at all, and handing that entire market to Toyota and Honda. It bet big on the wrong technology, missed the right one, and lost both races.
The Leaf, first released in 2010, is often called the world's first fully electric mass-market vehicle, but it has received fewer updates than competitors. In some markets, such as the US, Nissan doesn't have a hybrid.
The money trap nobody saw.
And the reputation they'd built up over decades was about to come crashing down.
When a company is as large as Nissan was, actually it becomes obvious probably when it's already reached a critical mass and it's very difficult to turn around, and it kind of led to a collapse.
The Renault Alliance taught Nissan that it should sell more at any cost.
The way the company reacted was really a kind of hint of what was coming.
Nissan panicked.
To move cars, Nissan leaned hard on leasing.
Nissan's customers are paycheck-to-paycheck buyers.
And to make those monthly payments look cheap, the financial service of Nissan did something clever and dangerous. It told itself the cars would be worth far more at the end of the lease than they really would be.
Check this out. Low interest rates are easier said than done, and Nissan would be losing money.
On some models, it assumed they'd hold about 70% of their value.
Giving out cars left and right with 0 or 1% financing, it's not a recipe for longevity in my opinion.
I think that that's the part we lost.
For a while, during the pandemic, used car prices went sky high. So the bet looked genius.
The demand for used cars is soaring.
Then prices came back to earth.
Find selling prices of used cars down almost 3% this year.
Fiscal year 2023, Nissan sold 794,000 units in China. In its original 2024 forecast, the company estimated a 3% decline.
And Nissan was stuck buying back hundreds of thousands of leased cars for way more than they were now worth.
The sales chief at Nissan is trying to douse the flame, saying, hey, we're going to turn it around.
The numbers are brutal. In just the first half of 2024, Nissan spent around $5 billion buying leased car back and got only $3.3 billion returning them to the market. That's a whole of roughly $1.7 billion in 6 months.
Are you going to, at this moment, change any of your plans to capitalize on that?
No, we will continue the strategy that we have set in the US, and we will continue doing that because it makes sense. We see that potentially some of the buyers could be moving into these type of vehicles.
In the US alone, it's sitting on more than 457,000 leases worth $11.6 billion, with some cars worth up to 40% less than promised on paper.
So this is, I think, one of the reasons that happened, and we lost confidence as a company. A company that loses confidence loses focus.
That's the bump that nearly ended the company, and almost nobody outside finance was even talking about it. 3. Nissan became the lender of last resort. As the brand faded, buyers with a strong credit started walking away. So Nissan chased the buyers nobody else wanted, people with credit scores well under 600.
620 credit score? Yes. 16 months term? Yes.
Folks Toyota's and Honda's banks would quietly turn down. You've probably seen the results on the road. There is even a nickname for it.
Big Altima energy.
That beat-up sedan, missing a bumper, weaving through 3 lanes at once, it became a joke online. But that joke was really a warning light.
When an Altima is on fire, the wheel is falling off, and the oblivious driver passes you like absolutely nothing is wrong.
When your brand becomes shorthand for a rough financial situation, the well-off buyers you need don't come back. And Nissan got stuck in a loop. The weaker the brand looked, the more it had to lean on risky loans to sell cars, which made the brand look weaker still. 4. They rented their own brand into the ground. Regular buyers aren't enough, Nissan shipped huge amount of Altimas, Sentras, and Rogues straight to the rental car companies at almost no profit.
Nissan dealers are slowly turning into a rental car business.
It kept the factories busy and the sales charts looking healthy. But rental cars get dumped into the used market after 18 to 24 months.
It's not like the rental car company is going to report it. No, they're just going to, obviously not.
Beaten up and high mileage.
Has to do with me and other people who rent cars all the time.
Suddenly cheap, used Nissans were everywhere. And when a used one is that cheap, A brand new one loses its value the second you drive off the lot.
Dealers are bleeding money, and it's not looking good for Nissan in 2024. It might be a bloodbath for them.
Smart buyers noticed, bit by bit, Nissan went from a respected Japanese import to something people saw as kind of disposable.
So it's not just a Japanese car maker thing, it's specific, I think, to Nissan.
5. The trap that punished its own dealers. To force cars through the showroom, Nissan ran what's called a stair-step program.
These unfair programs are bad for dealers, bad for automakers, and bad for customers.
Many dealers are experiencing a result of unfair and oppressive factory image and stair-step programs. You know, the stair-step programs are particularly egregious, and they create too many negatives to justify their use.
Later branded Nissan One. Hit your monthly sales target and you got a bonus on every car you'd sold that month.
Harms brand credibility, hurts dealers of all size, and destroys customer confidence in dealers and automakers.
Miss it by a single car, let's say one, and you got nothing. So as you saw, at the end of every month, dealers panicked and sold cars below cost, betting the bonus would cover the loss.
We do that because we understand the stress that it puts on the retail organization, and we understand at the end of the day they're not as consumer friendly.
It ruined their profits and secured Nissan as a discount brand. By 2025, about half of Nissan dealers had simply stopped chasing the bonuses. They were done playing the game. 6. Pride at the worst possible moment. Facing all of this, Nissan sat down to merge with Honda, a genuine lifeline.
Japanese automakers Honda and Nissan have announced that they plan to merge.
Currently, Nissan and Honda lag far behind the biggest auto companies, but the proposed new company jumps to third.
But Honda is worth roughly 5 times as much. So Honda wanted to run the show. Nissan's leaders refused to be the junior partner.
Learned Nissan and Honda are not merging. The two Japanese automakers have called off their talks.
They demanded a merger of equals in early 2025. So obviously the talks fell apart.
Integrating the companies at the moment, so that is not on the table.
And it's off the table.
It's not on the table for the moment. I don't know if it will come later, but for the moment it's not.
And here's the part that really stings. As Nissan announced the worst losses in its history and got ready to cut 20,000 jobs, the outgoing CEO and 3 other departing executives walked away with about $4 million in severance.
20,000 jobs worldwide. That's roughly 15% of its entire workforce. The cuts will happen gradually from now until 2027.
20,000 families are losing a paycheck, and the top managers get their thank you check for their historic loss. Interesting. 7. They bet on the wrong engine. Nissan showed up to the hybrid fight a decade late. While Toyota and Honda turned the RAV4 and CR-V into hybrid bestsellers, Nissan bet its entire US future on electric cars. Americans didn't follow. They bought hybrids in record numbers, and Nissan had nothing for them. It killed its last US hybrid in 2020 and left the shelf empty for years, watching the RAV4 alone outsell the entire Rogue lineup more than 2-1. It got so desperate, it rebadged a Mitsubishi just to fake a hybrid Rogue.
Underneath the surface, this is actually a Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with Nissan styling touches.
Nissan's own hybrid, e-Power, had existed since 2016 in 68 other countries, but it was kept out of America because it couldn't keep up on the highway. The chairman admitted it.
So I think we're a little bit late to the party, but I think we bring a hybrid system that's going to make the difference.
And this one you already know. Everybody knows. CVT transmissions.
CVT transmissions are shiftless gearboxes. They have no gears because they have an infinite gear ratio that goes forever and ever and ever.
To save money, Nissan put some cheap CVT transmissions built by its own supplier Jatco into almost everything. On paper, fine. In the real world, They overheated,
strange noises,
shuddered, and quit, sometimes at highway speed,
and burning smells, with some of these problems resulting in the car being thrown into limp mode.
Owners of some very popular cars are having transmission trouble just after their warranty expires.
Hundreds of owners of some very popular cars are complaining that their transmissions are failing.
The lawsuit piled up. Warranties got stretched to 84,000 miles.
Recently, Nissan faced major class action lawsuits for several different makes of their vehicles.
The Nissan Altima, it's a problem with the continuously variable transmission.
And for a whole generation of buyers, the word Nissan started to mean that car whose transmission died, or the brand that has a huge transmission problems.
Nissan makes the worst CVT transmissions out there.
All that goodwill from the legendary Nissans of the 90s quietly gone. And even now, the problems keep stacking.
Of Nissan sales this year in China, only 0.2% were electric. Not long ago, Nissan's debt, which is fairly substantial, was downgraded by credit agencies worldwide to junk. In other words, they've lost half of their market share in China. Half of it.
China, once Nissan's other giant market, collapsed too, as homegrown brands like BYD buried it on price. Or Trump's 25% tariffs on cars built in Mexico, where Nissan makes hundreds of thousands of them, cause a huge loss for them.
And 25% on Mexico, and that'll start.
Previously postponed the tax hike against America's biggest trading partners. There are fears that tariffs could have a negative impact on the U.S. economy.
And the fixes never stick. Full rescue plan in 5 years. Nissan next, Ambition 2030, the Arc, now Re-Nissan. Each one abandoned before the last was finished, as CEOs came and went.
This is a problem that didn't start like two years ago. It's a fundamental problem that we are fixing. You know, if you take a step back, 8-10 years ago, the company had very lofty goals for growth.
All of it away, and the most important reason is the simplest. Nissan wasn't killed by market, or bad luck, or China. It was killed by a choice that made years ago. To chase volume at any cost. Everything else was just followed. The fleet dumping, the gutted lineup, the broken transmissions, the missing hybrids, the wrecked resale value. Unfortunately, Nissan spent a decade selling its future, its brand name, to hit a number. It's really sad. The company that built legendary cars like Skylines, GTRs, and Z-Series is now in survival mode. And who knows how far they're really from the bankruptcy. I hope not. Let's be positive. Thanks for watching. I'm Said. You've just watched Charisma. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Charisma, and I will catch you up in the next one.